This path is a choice. The path of living your truth and your freedom that is divinely yours, that is divinely you. It's already done. It is a choice to look and not run over and over again. Even when it's uncomfortable and it's messy and it feels like you can't move through something, or it feels like you've hit a wall, whether it's physically, emotionally, spiritually, it is a choice to look. When fear comes knocking, 111 on the clock. When the fear comes knocking at your door, to meet the energy, to match it, and to see it's not this big bad thing, right? We don't have to shrink and get small and think, oh, that's too big to overcome. I can't do that. I could never. No, it's meeting it, matching it, and choosing differently. That's the alchemy. Because when we choose differently, and we see it is an illusion, and that nothing and no one and no thing can bind you, can bind us, unless we so choose it, unless we give them that authority and permission and power. But really, that's just in the mind. You cannot give your power away. Not in the way that we think. Yeah. So when that fear comes knocking and it's right at your door and it seems so big and so scary and so intimidating to overcome, it's just a mirror, mirroring lower, heavier densities that are ready to shed or leave the body, leave the vessel, leave your experience, because you are lightening. You are remembering your natural state. So any fears or distrust or panic, these are just mirroring spaces in your being that still think they're separate, that still need an identity or fuel, power, thoughts from you to survive. It's asking to be seen. That's all. And these can be energetic imprints that you've carried for a long time, maybe for your lineage or your ancestors, where it's finally time for it to be seen, for the light to shine right into that space, to be illuminated, to remind you that you were never fragmented. You are whole. Affirming. In the end, we see it was all an illusion. The fear that something's outside of you, that it can take from you, that it can harm you, touch you, that it can alter you, who you be. All it's really asking is, will you see me? Will you look and not run? Will you remember that I am here to help you remember? That you were never separate, and there was never anything to truly be scared of. And in times where our body is in fight or flight, and it's in a state of I almost said haywire, but just, it almost reminds me of wires where the nerves and the electrical impulses are moving through the body, and they're so strong, it feels like body on fire. It was about 5 years ago, I was diagnosed with Lyme disease. And I remember when I couldn't walk around the block, my nervous system and my body was in such fear of death and in such fight or flight. Every decision that I made felt like life or death. And everything just felt on fire. My whole being, my whole system felt on fire, yeah? So it's reminding me of that. It's like these electrical nerves moving through our body. Energy moving. There's so much pulsing through our body, through our veins, through our being, our physical being. Yeah, as we awaken, that happens. More to speak on that later. But it is a catalyst, and in those moments where you could feel like your nervous system is just totally on edge, or you feel like your body and your being and your system is totally on edge, fear is at the door. And you're in this state of fight or flight, and you just want to cocoon and cover and hide from it. What if you looked? It takes a warrior, which you are, for being here on this planet, in this incarnation, in this lifetime. Yes, you are a warrior. I see you. I honor you, and I respect you for who you be. And you are enough as you are. Just for being here. And to walk this path, to experience the freedom in your whole being, in your physical vessel, in your external reality, to experience the freedom. It is a choice to look and not run. Every time, to continue to choose that, to continue to choose your heart over and over again. And the more you choose it, I promise you it gets easier. I say this as someone who has been through hell and back, who has reached the end multiple times in this physical experience and come back. I chose that. It was my own little prayer that I would say to myself, may I look and not run. And I still say it to this day, and I will say it till this body transcends into something else. Until we die, yeah? When we truly choose to look and not run, we see there's nothing to be afraid of. Everything that triggers us and scares us, it's just a mirror. And it's just asking, are you willing to look? Let me set you free. Are you willing to look? Let me remind you that you're already free. And it can be scary to look at our shadows, to look at what's coming up. The feelings of not feeling worthy, of being abandoned. Yeah. these pains, these traumas, if we put it into words, these energetic imprints that we might be holding on to. It is a choice. But you have that strength and that power in you to look. And the more you look, the more easeful it will get. It doesn't mean there won't be challenging moments, yeah? As you rise and you're about to step into something really big that you know you're destined to, the opposition can feel like opposing forces come up. I saw this article, it like came up the other day on my phone, and it was like, you chose the stormy waters for your earth experience. You chose the stormiest waters. For a reason. And we do. Because the most deep, intense, profound fears and experiences that we have here elevate us that much more. They catalyze us that much more. You can see that much clearer. Yeah? And as someone who has multiple planets in Scorpio, many, I came here to go to the depths. Yeah. And maybe you did too. So it's death, rebirth, renewal, getting to the bottom, excavation. To remember the truth. To let the old die so the new can come in. Natural process, but actively being a part of that process. I remember being on my knees in the forest after my accident, screaming, "Why, Spirit, why?" My head was in so much pain. I felt so trapped because I was being asked to not move and be still and go within and release and let go. About 2 years ago, I was driving home from class. I had taught yoga Monday nights in town here in Boulder, and I was driving into the canyon to get back home. I lived up the mountain, about 15-20 minute drive, so lovely. And I remember we had a crazy storm that day. And that night, it was the night before I was gonna get my tires changed. But all divine, I slid right into a pole about halfway up the canyon, 4 mile, and hit 3 different poles. I could have went right into the ditch, but those poles kept me on the road and hit my head. Whiplash. And it was such a turning point. It was a fork in the road, literally. I laugh, but it was one of the most intense experiences I've gone through. I've had a few other encounters with death, being at the edge and coming back. I had been working in a place uptown and was teaching a lot. And I was already shifting into more of my calling, my truth, my path. I was already starting to shift. But this was just the total confirmation, redirection, protection. And I had to quit all of my jobs. I had to stop teaching. I couldn't drive. It was hard to walk, to speak, to hold a conversation. Felt like a marathon. Speaking for a minute at that point felt like a marathon. I remember my roommates would get home and I would try to hold a conversation and I would just get so exhausted. I'm like, I'm sorry, like I can't, like even doing dishes, your brain, like coordinating how to move things and do things. And I had a major concussion and it was delayed. It hit me like, I wanna say, was it days later? Yeah, it was days later. I was supposed to go to a concert with a friend that weekend and I was working a shift that night, serving, and I remember standing there at the counter and just being like, I'm dizzy. I think something's wrong. I went to the ER. They're like, yeah, you have a bad concussion. It should heal, within a few weeks. You'll be back to normal, don't worry. But it is a pretty intense concussion, so just rest. No music, no nothing. I was like, okay, yeah, I'll just rest for like a few days. And within that next week, it just shifted to a total standstill. I had no idea it was gonna end up being like 6 months. So weeks later, I'm up in the mountains. I'm laying on this couch in our living room. And the afternoon sun is coming in. It's pretty hot. And I hear from the person that I was with, the man that I was with, and I so badly wanted him to understand that now my whole being craved for someone to understand it or get what I was going through. But I wholly knew in my whole being and my heart that I needed to step away, as I did, and hold the line. And as I'm laying there, feeling like I was drowning in the medical debt, feeling alone, and feeling a lot of fear, a lot of just old energies coming up in the body. Like, how am I gonna survive? How am I gonna make it through this? I felt trapped. But little did I know it was a reset and it was a gift. There were many gifts from that. And it was really fucking hard. I'm not gonna lie. There were moments where it took everything in me to keep going, to be here, to sit here today. It took everything in me to just stay alive for one more day, just choose life. One more day, one more moment. Yeah. Yeah, emotions. I laugh, but it's real. Some other stories I can tell someday with that. On that note, if you are here and you feel alone, you are meant to be here and you're not alone. I'm with you. Yeah. You are so loved. So I'm laying there on this couch and I feel everything's on fire. My physical body, my life, my heart. And all I wanted to do was go back to comfort and safety. I just wanted that person that I was with. I wanted him to know what I had been through. I wanted to hear from him because I was with him for years. Of course. It was a powerful, big role player in my life. And it was dangerous to be around him. It was not safe in that now for me to be in communication with him. I knew this. Hence why it was also a gift that I was brought to that pause, to face all of my fears when they came knocking at the door, and to truly look and not run. As that sun is streaming in, I'm sweating and I feel the fire. And my whole nervous system's kind of in that overwhelmed state. I think I was maybe on my screen for a little longer than needed. I became really sensitive to screens, hence the other redirection from being on computer or anything like that. It was so intense physically. I just wanted to retreat. Let's just go back to what we know. Yeah, my body felt super wired, just so uncomfortable. It just wanted safety. It just wanted something familiar. And I just hear, go for your walk now. Go now. And normally I would not go at that time. I would go later, or when the sun had set, or just, it was more in the night. And it was very clear, that moment, that now. So I walk barefoot through the trees, say hi to all my favorite ones along the way, and start walking through this valley, all these grasses, so green. And the sun is starting to fall in the sky. The air is starting to cool. And every time I walk this path, I'm always alone. And I pretty much never run into anyone, maybe a neighbor on occasion with their pup. But for the most part, I'm usually solo and barely run into anyone, yeah. So I'm walking and I get to my favorite tree that leans in the forest. It's like slanted, so I can place my whole body on it, place my head on it, and just lean in. And I started to notice as I did that, it would neutralize the energy in my head. So whatever I was going through, whether it was something physical, from the concussion, or I was upgrading, awakening, remembering something, whenever I felt overstimulated or I was just overwhelmed, I would go to this tree and I would lean my head, my whole body and being right into her and put my forehead right on her. Just take a deep breath. Feel my feet on the floor, the trunk, the ground. And she would hold me and remind me that I'm safe, that all is well, and that there's nothing to worry about. And I would say, please take my worry, take my fear. Just take it. Any energies that don't serve, take it, take them. And every time, even just speaking right now, 4444 on the clock. Even just speaking right now, I can feel her. Her, Gaia, Mother, feel the presence of that tree. Sometimes we don't have to be in that physical location, that space to feel it. To feel an energy shift. It's beyond the physical. I'm laying against this tree. And letting her totally hold me. My whole weight, my whole heart. I'm feeling my bare feet on the trunk below. My hands in between her spaces, her ribs along the trunk. And I just hear footsteps coming towards me. And it's this woman with really long hair. She's a bit older than me, probably in her 40s, 50s. Her hair is super big and long and curly, and she looks like she's been walking forever. I could relate. The walking and the journey. But she comes up to me in this tree with her little dog, just runs right up to me, my feet, to say hello. And she's like, barefoot. We need to do that more of that. Like, yeah, I agree. More feet on the ground. Remembering what we're really a part of, yeah, what we be. More neutralizing, loving energy. Powerful, rooted. It's all of it. And she comes up to me as I'm leaning into this tree. And we just start talking. I notice her sandals. She's wearing flip-flops. She looks like she came from the islands, of course. They're Hawaiian flip-flops. And her beautiful blue eyes. The bluest eyes I have ever seen. So clear. And the way she looked at me with so much love. In a moment where I was in deep fire. I had been through so many trials with the Lyme, with the somatic healing for years. Devoted myself. So I was using my tools and how to regulate, and having that support, just that presence of someone walking up, meant everything. Even when I didn't know her, I knew her. We knew each other, yeah. And I asked her where she's from. She's 4 Mile, where I got in my accident, where I was with that person, yeah. We started talking a little bit. I didn't share too much about my past. I shared enough about the accident, and that was it. She looks me so clear in the eyes, like she was sent to say this to me. You have to choose something different. No. You'll keep going around in the same circle until you choose something different. Choose something different. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Though my whole being believed and knew it was truth. It was sent right to me. That was a message delivered. I don't know if I said this, but right before I left for that walk, I said, Spirit, I call in support. I call in divine messages. Anything that I need to hear right now, please come through. Please help me to hear you very clearly. And I said, through people, I ask for your help. Please come through people, messages, signs. Please come through with whatever I need to hear right now. I had said that right before I started walking. I'm almost like smiling at like, wow, thank you. You were sent, you know? And she picks up her dog and starts to hand him to me and said, "This is Courage. His name's Courage." She literally hands me Courage. And I'm holding Courage in my arms on the top of this mountain between the trees. And everything felt okay again. I was reminded. That I have it in me to choose something different, to look and not run, to choose my highest timeline, to choose the truth, to choose to look, even when it's uncomfortable, even in the midst of that fire. Can I look? We can dive into where is this coming from, why, how comforting, soothing parts work. And eventually, it just becomes looking. It's okay. It's just mirroring something. Yeah. Regardless of what it is. What is my highest choice in this now? So eventually we part ways. That was like our parting note. And I walk and I go sit on my rock that I always walked to and looked over the mountains. And prayed and meditated and just sat in the calm, away from screen, Wi-Fi, all that, just removing myself, centering, returning. And I look over my left shoulder and I see her walking through the woods, and she just slowly disappears into the green, into the trees, right after the one that leans. I was laughing and smiling and in tears, just like this woman and her dog, Courage. To this day, I still wonder, is this real? Is she real? I might never know. If you can hear me. If you're around and you do exist. But it felt so magical. It was. Yeah, it was divine intervention, yeah. Spirit can do that, can come through people, can use us, our bodies, animals, to remind us, to anchor us back into the now, back into our knowing, our truth, our strength. And that day it did, in a really big, beautiful way. So I walked on, and I chose my highest truth, the knowing, even when I felt like I was in fear and I wanted to shrink back and get small and retreat back to what I knew, to what I thought was safe, because it was familiar. But just because it's familiar doesn't mean it's safe. You are always safe in every now. And in situations in this physical, there are choices that need to be made. That show how you truly see and know yourself and are following your truth. How much you value and respect you and your heart and your worth. The divinity of it is standing in it, It's all serving. Every single fear, every single time you're triggered, every single time we meet that fear at the door, at the threshold. Say you're at a crossroads in your life. Many are right now. When you meet it, when it's right there and it presents itself, you get to choose. Will I shrink and think it's so big, it's too big to overcome, I could never do that? Will we follow that storyline? Or will we look and see the gift that it is presenting to us to choose our truth, a different way, to choose our highest, that is our knowing, that is already here, we already know. It might feel uncomfortable, we don't want to look, and that would feel weird, and what if we're rejected, and what if we this, and what if we fall on our ass, and what if it's not really real? What if what if you already know? And even if you don't know with your mind, what if it's perfect? All the fear is really asking of you is to remember that you're safe. It will get easier every time. And eventually, you'll see the fear meet it like a big wave coming for you. And you'll go right through it without getting which I'll tell you, there are so many times where I have been like just tumbling through waves. All serving. So either way, it's perfect. Whatever you choose is perfect. It is your knowing. And I'm just saying this because to have the courage when it's there, when it comes to the door, when you're overwhelmed, your nervous system is shot, you're in fight or flight, the electrical impulses, something is awakening in you, or you're just nervous or overwhelmed, on edge, someone's triggering something in you, and it's right here. Can you meet it and see it for what it really is? Can you look and not run and choose your heart? Right there. That creates an entirely new timeline, a new code in the field for your body, for your soul to follow. That is the highest, your highest self, spirit, source, whatever you want to call it, guiding you, you guiding you. You don't need the map, you are the map. And that choosing creates a new code in the field. And then you'll see the external shifts, it's different. Oh, it's safe to choose that different. Even when it's uncomfortable, you may not see it right away, but it will start to reflect that. And that's your guiding light, that new code. You don't have to try as hard anymore. You will continue to choose the new. The new that is always following your knowing. The new that I am always free. That I am always in my power. I am always in my sovereignty. And no matter what anyone says, does, tries to interfere with energetically, I choose it. I have the say. And it is my choice how it does or does not impact. It is my choice, it is my story that I'm writing. Your freedom is a choice. Well done. Because I know you're out there choosing it. Those that are watching this now, there's no coincidence that you're seeing this. There's no coincidence that you're hearing these words. It is all divine. Every time you are guided to someone that speaks, words you hear, messages that come through, it is not an accident. So I know you're a warrior. Thank you for choosing your heart, for choosing love. I say this to you, I say this to me, I say this to our ancestors who came before us, who fought and surrendered for us to be in this now. I say this for those that are coming after us. May it be more useful. May we be free. Love to you.